The courtroom in downtown Chicago fell deathly silent as the judge rapped the gavel for the third time demanding order, but nothing could prepare anyone for what happened next. Amaya clutched Jordan's hand so tightly her knuckles turned white, her mind racing with every possible outcome of this nightmare that had consumed their lives for the past 8 months. Then the moment everyone had been dreading arrived when the bailiff called out little Lily's name, and the 6-year-old girl with her curly dark hair and wide innocent eyes stepped forward to the witness stand, her small frame looking even tinier against the massive wooden structure. "Miss Lily," the family lawyer began in a voice smooth as oil yet sharp as a blade, "can you tell the court in your own words who takes care of you every single day?" Lily looked straight across the room at Amaya and Jordan, her face lighting up for a brief second before turning serious, as if she understood the weight of everything hanging on her next words. "Mommy Jordan makes me breakfast and helps with my homework every night, but Mommy Amaya reads me stories at bedtime, and takes me to the park when I am scared of the dark, and she makes the best pancakes on Sunday mornings." The words hung in the air like a thunderclap, and Amaya felt her chest tighten as memories flooded back unbidden to the day she first met Jordan 7 years earlier in a small coffee shop near the University of Illinois campus. It had been a rainy afternoon in late spring. Amaya, a 25-year-old marketing coordinator fresh out of grad school, had ducked inside for shelter, ordering a black coffee and settling into a corner booth with her laptop. Jordan had been there too, a 23-year-old education major with blonde hair pulled back in a messy ponytail and eyes that sparkled even under the dim lights as she struggled with a heavy backpack and a stack of textbooks that tumbled everywhere when she bumped into Amaya's table. "Sorry, I am such a klutz," Jordan had laughed apologetically, bending down to gather her papers, and Amaya had knelt to help her, their hands brushing accidentally, sending a spark through both of them that neither could ignore. They ended up talking for hours that day about dreams and fears, Jordan sharing how she had just lost her longtime boyfriend Marcus in a tragic car accident 3 months earlier, leaving her pregnant and terrified about raising a child alone. Amaya had listened without judgment, offering quiet support, and by the end of that rainy afternoon they exchanged numbers, promising to meet again as friends. What started as friendship quickly blossomed into something deeper, as they spent more time together navigating the complexities of Jordan's pregnancy and grief. Amaya accompanied her to every doctor appointment, holding her hand during ultrasounds, and rubbing her back through morning sickness episodes that left Jordan exhausted and emotional. The conservative family Jordan came from, her parents, strict Catholics from a small Midwest town, had been disapproving from the start, barely speaking to their daughter after she revealed the pregnancy and her decision to keep the baby despite the circumstances. They viewed Amaya as an intruder, a woman who had no business stepping into the role of parent, especially not with another woman. Yet Amaya never wavered. She decorated the nursery, painted the walls soft yellow, and assembled the crib late into the night while Jordan rested. When Lily was born on a cold January morning, Amaya was right there in the delivery room, whispering encouragement as Jordan pushed through the pain, and the first cry filled the room. Amaya felt a love so profound it took her breath away. She cut the cord, held the tiny bundle, and in that moment became Lily's other mother in every way that mattered. The early years were filled with joy. They moved into a cozy 2-bedroom apartment in a quiet Chicago neighborhood, where Amaya worked long hours at her marketing firm to support the family, while Jordan finished her teaching degree and took a job at an elementary school. Lily grew into a bright, curious child who called both women mommy from the time she could speak, toddling between them at the park, chasing butterflies and demanding piggyback rides from Amaya while Jordan packed snacks and read books aloud under shady trees. Neighbors smiled at their little family, some even commented on how lucky Lily was to have 2 loving moms, but beneath the surface cracks were forming. Jordan's parents visited sporadically, their conversations laced with passive-aggressive remarks about how a child needs a real father figure, and how this lifestyle was not what God intended. Amaya bit her tongue every time, swallowing the hurt, and focusing instead on the daily acts of love that defined their bond. But peace could not last forever, and the first real storm arrived in the form of a certified letter delivered one ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Jordan's parents were filing for custody, claiming that Amaya had no legal standing as she was not the biological parent, and that the household was unfit due to the same-sex relationship. The shock hit Amaya like a physical blow as she read the documents, her hands trembling, while Jordan sat on the couch staring blankly at the wall, tears streaming down her face. How could they do this after all these years? Amaya wondered internally, her mind swirling with fear and anger. She had changed diapers, walked the floors with a colicky infant, celebrated every milestone, and loved Lily with a fierceness that rivaled any biological tie. Yet now that love was being questioned, dissected, and threatened in the coldest way possible. As the days turned into weeks of frantic lawyer meetings and sleepless nights, Amaya found herself questioning everything: her role, her worth, her right to fight for the child she considered her own. Jordan was torn between loyalty to the woman who had stood by her through the hardest times, and the blood family that still held a powerful emotional pull despite their prejudice. The pressure mounted as social workers began home visits asking pointed questions about their relationship and Lily's well-being, while whispers spread through Jordan's school community and Amaya's workplace, where colleagues offered sympathetic looks but avoided deeper conversations. Lily sensed the tension becoming clingier at bedtime and asking why Grandma and Grandpa did not come over anymore, her innocent questions cutting deeper than any courtroom argument ever could. Amaya lay awake one night staring at the ceiling beside a fitfully sleeping Jordan, her heart heavy with the weight of decisions ahead. She had always believed love was enough, that the daily choices to show up and care for Lily made her a real mother. But now the system and society seemed determined to prove otherwise. The price of their happiness was becoming clearer with every passing day: the potential loss of Lily, the strain on their marriage, the isolation from family and community, all of it demanding a toll that neither woman had anticipated when they first chose each other. Yet in the quiet moments when Lily crawled into their bed between them, giggling and demanding stories, Amaya knew she would fight with everything she had, because walking away was never an option, not when the alternative meant breaking the heart of the child who had made them a family. The confrontation at the family home came 2 weeks after the lawsuit papers arrived, shattering the fragile normalcy they had tried to maintain for Lily's sake. Jordan's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, arrived unannounced on a Saturday morning, their faces set in grim determination, as they stood on the porch refusing to enter until Amaya stepped aside. "We need to talk to our daughter alone," Mrs. Thompson said coldly, her eyes flicking dismissively over Amaya, as if she were invisible. Jordan pulled Amaya back gently, but firmly, insisting that whatever needed saying would be said in front of both of them, because they were a united front. Inside the living room, the air grew thick with unspoken accusations as Mr. Thompson launched into a rehearsed speech about how Lily deserved a stable, traditional upbringing away from the confusion of two mothers. "You are not her father, Amaya," he stated flatly, his voice rising with each word. "And you never will be, no matter how much you pretend." The words landed like blows, Amaya feeling the familiar sting of invalidation that had haunted her since the beginning. But this time it was weaponized in front of the child they all claimed to love. Lily, who had been playing quietly in her room, peeked around the corner, her eyes wide with confusion, until Jordan quickly scooped her up and took her to the backyard to distract her with bubbles. Alone with the Thompsons, Jordan's internal conflict raged visibly, her hands twisting in her lap, as she tried to explain that Amaya had been more of a parent than anyone could ask for through sleepless nights, doctor visits, and everyday moments that built their life. But her mother countered with tears and Bible verses, quoting passages about family structure, and warning that continuing this way would scar Lily for life. Jordan felt the pull of guilt from years of trying to please her parents, the same guilt that had made her hide her relationship with Amaya for so long before finally coming out. Amaya watched silently, her own doubts resurfacing like old wounds. Was she being selfish by fighting to keep Lily in a home that society judged so harshly, or was walking away the greater betrayal? The first legal meeting with their attorney only deepened the dread, revealing the vulnerabilities in their situation. Because Jordan had given birth and the adoption paperwork for Amaya had been delayed due to bureaucratic hurdles and cost, the court might view Amaya as having limited rights. The lawyer warned them that conservative judges in certain circuits could side with blood relatives, emphasizing the biological tie and questioning the stability of a same-sex household. Amaya sat through the consultation feeling exposed, her identity reduced to a legal technicality, rather than the years of devotion she had poured into Lily. That night, after putting Lily to bed, the couple sat on the couch in silence, until Jordan broke down sobbing about how she had failed everyone by choosing love over family expectations. Social backlash crept in slowly, at first with anonymous notes left in Jordan's school mailbox questioning her fitness as a teacher, and parents pulling their kids from her class citing discomfort with her lifestyle. Amaya faced similar whispers at work, where a promotion she had been eyeing suddenly went to someone else with vague explanations about team fit. The media leak came next. A local news blog somehow got wind of the case and published a sensational article framing it as a battle between traditional values and modern choices, complete with blurred photos of their family outings. Lily came home from kindergarten one day, asking why some kids said her moms were bad, and Amaya had to kneel down explaining in simple terms that love came in all shapes, and that their family was special, not wrong. As the weeks dragged on, the couple's arguments grew sharper under the mounting pressure. Jordan, accusing Amaya of pushing too hard for a fight that might traumatize Lily, while Amaya countered that giving up would send the message that their bond was worthless. In quiet moments of reconciliation, they clung to each other, whispering promises to stay strong. But the moral dilemma gnawed at both of them: was it right to subject Lily to the ugliness of a public trial, or should they sacrifice their rights to spare her the pain? Amaya spent hours journaling her fears, pouring out the internal storm of feeling like an imposter mom despite every bedtime story and scraped knee she had tended. Jordan wrestled with her own awakening, realizing how deeply the prejudice had embedded itself in her psyche from childhood, making her question if blood really trumped the chosen family she had built. The betrayal hit hardest when Jordan's sister Emily reached out privately to Amaya, admitting that she had been pressured by their parents to provide statements about Jordan's past struggles with depression after Marcus' death, suggesting it proved instability. Emily confessed her own regrets, but warned that the family was determined to win at any cost, viewing the custody fight as a way to save Lily from what they saw as a sinful environment. Amaya kept the conversation from Jordan at first to protect her, but the secret weighed heavily, adding another layer of isolation. Through it all, Lily remained the anchor, her laughter in the park on rare good days reminding them why every sacrifice mattered. Yet the tension was eroding their foundation, forcing both women to confront the true cost of their love, the potential loss of everything they had fought to create together. The protests outside the courthouse began small, but grew with each hearing, drawing crowds waving signs that read "Protect traditional families and children need a mother and father." Amaya and Jordan arrived each time through a side entrance, avoiding the cameras, but the chants echoed in their minds long after they left. Inside, the proceedings dragged on with witness after witness called to testify about the supposed harms of growing up in a lesbian household. Jordan's former neighbor spoke of seeing the couple argue once, twisting a minor disagreement into evidence of instability, while a hired expert droned on about studies linking same-sex parenting to identity confusion in children. Amaya's testimony came on a particularly grueling afternoon, where she stood in the witness box detailing every way she had been Lily's parent, from the first bottle feedings to teaching her to ride a bike. Her voice cracked as she described the day Lily called her mama for the first time unprompted, and how that single word had solidified her place in the family. The cross-examination was brutal, the opposing lawyer questioning her motives, implying she had inserted herself into Jordan's life for financial gain, or to fulfill some personal agenda. Amaya felt stripped bare, her deepest vulnerabilities laid out for strangers to judge, yet she held firm, refusing to let them diminish the love that had sustained them through Marcus' death, the pregnancy scares, and the sleepless nights of new parenthood. Back at home, the strain showed in small ways: Lily acting out at school, drawing pictures of two houses, one with her mom's and one with grandparents, as if preparing for the worst. Jordan and Amaya found themselves snapping at each other over trivial things like dinner choices, the arguments always circling back to the central fear of losing their daughter. In one heated exchange, Jordan admitted her momentary doubt, wondering aloud if perhaps her parents were right, that Lily needed a more conventional life to avoid the bullying and stares she already faced. Amaya retreated to the bedroom that night, staring at old photos of their wedding, a simple courthouse ceremony attended only by close friends because Jordan's family had refused to come. The betrayal from Emily escalated when she took the stand for the grandparents, recounting childhood stories that painted Jordan as flighty and easily influenced, claiming the relationship with Amaya had been a rebound that never should have lasted. Jordan sat frozen in the gallery, tears flowing silently as her sister avoided her gaze, the sisterly bond they once shared fracturing under the weight of loyalty to their parents. Amaya reached over, squeezing Jordan's hand, offering silent support, but inside she burned with anger at the family that could so easily discard one of their own for the sake of appearances. Psychological evaluations followed, with experts interviewing Lily in neutral settings, asking about her feelings toward each parent. The reports were mixed, praising the stable, loving environment Amaya and Jordan provided, but noting the child's confusion over the conflict and her expressed desire to stay with both moms. Amaya spent long evenings researching similar cases, finding stories of couples who lost everything and others who prevailed, but each one highlighted the emotional toll: the years of legal fees, the damaged relationships, the lingering trauma for the child. She began to question her own choices. Had she been naive to believe their love could shield Lily from the world's judgment? Or was fighting the only way to teach her that family is defined by commitment, not biology? Through the darkest moments, small awakenings emerged. Jordan confronting her mother in a private meeting, admitting how the constant criticism had made her feel unworthy as a daughter and mother. The conversation ended in tears, but without resolution, leaving Jordan more determined than ever to protect the life she had chosen. Amaya found strength in therapy sessions, unpacking her fears of abandonment rooted in her own immigrant parents who had distanced themselves after she came out. Together they rebuilt their intimacy through late-night talks and quiet gestures, like Jordan surprising Amaya with her favorite takeout, or Amaya leaving encouraging notes in Jordan's lesson plans. Yet the pressure continued to build like a storm on the horizon, promising either destruction or a hard-won clarity about what truly mattered in their lives. Courtroom battles intensified as the weeks turned into months, with character attacks becoming more personal and vicious. The grandparents' lawyer presented evidence of Jordan's past mild anxiety medication use after Lily's birth, twisting it into proof of ongoing mental health issues unfit for parenting. Amaya faced scrutiny over her work travel history, even though those trips had been rare and always arranged around family needs. Friends testified on their behalf, sharing stories of the couple's dedication, the community barbecues, the school volunteering, and the way Lily thrived in their care, but the opposing side dismissed them as biased allies in a lifestyle agenda. In private moments between hearings, Amaya and Jordan clung to their bond, finding solace in the simple acts that had always grounded them: cooking meals together, reading to Lily at night, and stealing kisses when the child was asleep. One weekend they escaped to a nearby park, recreating happier times, pushing Lily on the swings and laughing as she chased squirrels, the brief respite reminding them of the happiness they were fighting to preserve. Yet the moral dilemmas persisted, Amaya lying awake wondering if continuing the fight was truly in Lily's best interest, or if dropping the case would spare her the ongoing trauma of divided loyalties and public scrutiny. Jordan wrestled with similar thoughts, her awakening coming in waves as she realized how much she had internalized her family's prejudices, making her question her own worthiness as a mother in a same-sex relationship. A turning point came during a heated argument, when Amaya suggested they consider mediation to avoid a full trial, the idea born from exhaustion and fear of what a loss would do to all of them. Jordan reacted with fury, accusing Amaya of wanting to give up too easily, but later apologized in tears, acknowledging that the pressure was breaking them both. They held each other that night, promising to see the battle through together no matter the outcome, recognizing that their unity was the greatest gift they could give Lily. The next day they met with their lawyer to prepare for the final phases, strengthening their resolve with new affidavits from child psychologists, affirming the benefits of stable, loving homes regardless of parental gender. Social media amplified the case, with hashtags trending both in support and opposition, strangers weighing in on their lives as if entitled to an opinion. Amaya avoided the online noise, focusing instead on Lily's daily needs, helping with homework and attending school events where supportive teachers offered quiet encouragement. The financial strain mounted, legal fees draining their savings, forcing them to cut back on extras and rely on friends for childcare during hearings. Through it all, the internal conflicts deepened, Amaya confronting her own insecurities about being the non-biological parent, while Jordan grappled with the guilt of having brought her family into their lives in the first place. As the trial date for Lily's testimony approached, the couple prepared, carefully explaining to their daughter in age-appropriate terms that she might have to speak in court, but that her words would help everyone understand how much she loved her family. Lily nodded solemnly, her young mind grasping more than they realized, and in quiet moments she would hug both women, whispering, "I love you both the same." Those words became their anchor amid the chaos, reinforcing the truth that family was not about labels or legal technicalities, but about the daily choice to show up and love unconditionally no matter the cost. The day Lily took the stand arrived under gray Chicago skies, the courtroom packed with spectators and media. Amaya and Jordan sat rigid with anticipation, their hands intertwined as the judge reminded the child to tell the truth. The family lawyer approached gently, at first asking simple questions about school and friends before steering toward the heart of the matter. "Lily, who do you live with, and who do you consider your parents?" The little girl paused, looking directly at the two women who had raised her, her voice small but steady as she answered, "Mommy Jordan and Mommy Amaya, both of them. They are my moms, and I want to stay with them forever." Gasps rippled through the room and Amaya felt tears sting her eyes as Lily continued unprompted, explaining how Amaya helped with nightmares and Jordan taught her to read, how they both made her feel safe and loved every single day. The opposing lawyer tried to confuse her with follow-up questions suggesting maybe one mommy was better. But Lily shook her head firmly, insisting they were equal, and that splitting them would make her sad. The testimony lasted only 15 minutes, but it shifted the entire atmosphere. The judge visibly moved, calling for a brief recess while the grandparents sat stone-faced, their expressions a mix of shock and defiance. Afterward, in a private family room, Jordan pulled Lily into a tight embrace, whispering how proud she was while Amaya knelt to wipe the child's tears, praising her bravery. The moment crystallized everything they had fought for: the raw power of a child's unfiltered love cutting through legal jargon and societal bias. Yet the cross-examination that followed tested their resolve, with experts debating attachment theories and long-term outcomes, the discussions clinical and detached from the human hearts at stake. Amaya testified again, reinforcing her role with specific examples of sacrifices made, the late nights, the career adjustments, the unwavering commitment that defined motherhood beyond biology. Jordan spoke last, her voice trembling as she addressed the court, directly admitting her family's good intentions, but emphasizing that love and stability could not be measured by blood alone. She described the awakening she had undergone during the trial, realizing that protecting Lily meant protecting the family they had chosen, not the one dictated by tradition. The closing arguments stretched into the afternoon, each side painting vastly different pictures, one of moral decay and the other of resilient love. As the judge announced he would deliberate and issue a ruling within days, the couple left the courthouse hand in hand, with Lily between them, the weight of uncertainty heavy, but their bond stronger than ever. In the days that followed, they shielded Lily as best they could, taking her to the park for picnics and movie nights at home, creating pockets of normalcy amid the tension. Amaya reflected deeply on the journey from that rainy coffee shop meeting to this courtroom battle, every decision, every trade-off, every moment of doubt leading to this point of potential reckoning. Jordan too found clarity in the chaos, her internal conflicts resolving into a fierce determination to stand by the woman who had become her true partner in every sense. The child's testimony had awakened something in everyone involved, even the grandparents, who sent a tentative message asking to speak, but the couple declined for now, focusing on healing together first. The verdict came on a crisp autumn morning, the judge's voice steady as he ruled in favor of Amaya and Jordan, granting them full custody with visitation rights for the grandparents contingent on respecting the family's boundaries. Relief washed over the couple like a wave, Amaya collapsing into Jordan's arms in the hallway outside the courtroom, tears of exhaustion and joy mixing freely. Lily, who had waited with a babysitter at home, ran to them upon their return, squealing with delight as they explained she was staying forever, the three of them a family unbroken. Yet the victory carried a steep price. The relationship with Jordan's parents remained fractured despite the ruling, with Mrs. Thompson sending a letter expressing disappointment and withdrawing from future holidays. Financial recovery would take years, the drained savings and legal debts forcing budget cuts and side jobs. Amaya and Jordan both carried emotional scars, the trial having tested their marriage to its limits, with lingering doubts and trust issues that required ongoing counseling. Lily adjusted slowly, asking occasional questions about why grandparents were angry, but thriving in the stability of home, with her two moms attending therapy herself to process the experience. In the months that followed, awakenings continued, Amaya embracing her role fully without apology, founding a support group for non-biological parents in same-sex families, while Jordan advocated at her school for inclusive policies. Their bond deepened through shared vulnerability, the romantic moments returning stronger, like quiet evenings on the porch watching Lily play, or weekend getaways where they reaffirmed their commitment. The societal prejudice persisted in subtle ways, stares at the grocery store or comments from extended relatives, but they faced them together, stronger for having survived the storm. Reflecting on the journey, Amaya realized the true cost had been paid not just in money or time, but in pieces of their innocence, the naive belief that love alone could shield them from the world. Jordan too had grown, acknowledging the prejudices she once internalized and choosing daily to reject them in favor of the family she had built. Lily's innocence remained intact, but wiser, her drawings now featuring all three of them with hearts connecting, everyone the simple proof that children often see truth more clearly than adults. As they settled into their new normal, the couple often discussed the what-ifs, the alternate paths where they might have compromised earlier or fought differently. The experience had forced them to confront the hardest questions about identity, belonging, and the meaning of family in a society still divided on such matters. In the end, they emerged not unscathed but transformed their love, a testament to resilience amid betrayal and judgment. When blood demands a price from love, who really pays the ultimate cost, the parents, the child, or society itself?